So when I was in 1st or 2nd grade, we were playing on the blacktop. So me and my friends decided to play tag. So when another group of friends saw us playing tag, they decided to play their own game of tag. And our groups were really close together. So when I was being chased by my friend, that was it. A boy from the other group ran into me. So then I fell down on the blacktop. My friend wasn't paying attention. She tripped over my foot and landed right on me. And I hit my head on the ground. So she got up. So then after that, I got up. And my top lip was bleeding like crazy. My top lip literally burst open.
So, long story short, it worked out. I made scrambled eggs, which are a little bit burned because of how long it took the egg to melt. But, definitely not the worst eggs I've ever seen. So, I mean, I guess if you want to stick your eggs in the freezer, go ahead. I have another one, except that was the one that was in the sink. So, I'm not going to cook that one. I'm also not going to eat this, but I will feed it to maybe the animals outside. Anyway, thanks for watching. Like and subscribe and share. Bye, guys.
Story time about how I got caught skipping school almost every day of my senior year. So our school had just started this new thing where you fill out all your contact information online. And my dad was like, okay, yeah, just fill yours out. And it pretty much was who can pick you up, who can make early dismissals for you, who they can call if you're in trouble. Well, I decided to be a sneaky little bastard and put my boyfriend in for every single one of those contacts. I would start school around 7:30 a.m. and I would go to the nurse's office at 9 a.m. and she would call and my boyfriend would act like my dad and be like, okay, yeah, just let her drive home. Well, my guidance counselor noticed after about 3 months of me never being at school. So she called the number hoping to speak to my dad. But instead...
Okay, so this story time is about a scammer from back home because he popped up on my Instagram last night and he's had me blocked for 4-something years, hasn't spoken to me at all. Me and him were hella close. We've known each other since we were 15, done hella shit together. Some of my TikToks even include him and we were just family. Well, last night, his little fake exotic weed page popped up on my Instagram, and I DM'd him, and I was like, I think it's hella funny that you have this business now, but I still remember when you stole 7 bands from me. And of course, he read it, and he probably won't respond, but a few years ago, I sent him money, and this wasn't the first time I sent him money. So, I didn't think anything of it. So I sent him 7 bands, and for the first few days, he was just being hella weird, and I'm like, bro, what's up? What are you doing? And he ended up blocking me on all my social media. He blocked every single number, wouldn't talk to me. And the only thing I heard is the last thing he said was, you asked me a question I didn't like, so I didn't feel I had to respond to you. And okay, so once I realized I was negative $4,000 in my account, I hit my friend and I'm like, bro, what did you do to my account? I'm not understanding. And he was like, oh, I'm sorry. And I was like, I'm sorry for what? Just put the money back. It's no problem. And he was like, I can't do that. There's nothing I can really do. It's your problem. And I was like, what the fuck? What am I supposed to do? So I called the bank. I was like, someone did fraud on my account. They basically didn't believe me. They thought it was me. This was him texting me a few years later, trying to apologize, thinking things were all good. It took me 7 years to get a bank account. They would not let me open no bank account. It took me 4 years to pay that shit off. I was a 20-year-old. And yeah, moral of the story, don't trust nobody with your bank account. Okay, so when I first moved to the East Coast, I ended up working at this daycare that was hella racist, and I quit the same day I found out. So I was in a classroom with this old ass lady who had old school ass rules from 1804, just ancient ass rules that didn't make any sense. And so she would have this one kid who was hella bad face the wall when he would eat, don't eat with nobody, don't look at anything, and just literally make him face the wall. And I was like, bruh, he's 5, what are you doing? So one day I went and I started talking to the boy, and basically the teacher was like, get away from him, leave him alone. And so that same day I went and I told management. They didn't do really anything about it, so I was like, okay, whatever. So I'm in that classroom again, and the assistant teachers in the classroom, who were all white, I guess thought because I was also white that I was part of their little pasty racist clan, and I'm not. I might be pasty, but I'm not racist. And they started telling family me stories, all these racist ass stories, and I cussed him out on the spot right there in front of the kids, and I walked out of the. Okay, so once I cussed my coworkers out for telling me these racist stories, I ended up walking out of the building, and I think I told management to fuck off. I don't know, but I ended up filing a formal complaint. They had roaches and shit too. They were nasty. I don't know what happened after that. I'm pretty sure they all got fired. I don't know. I was like 23 when this happened. It was a while ago. And for everyone asking, like, why didn't I stay? Like, why didn't you do more? Like, what did y'all want me to do? Kidnap the kid? Like, I had just moved to Virginia. I was literally working at this job for 3 weeks. And if you've ever worked in a daycare, they have teachers who like float around and aren't in the same classroom every day. And that's what I was doing. I was never there when parents were there to pick up or drop off. So I didn't even know whose parents were who. But honestly, I had worked at numerous daycares since I've been in Virginia, and almost all of them have had someone racist working at every.
When I was younger, we had this older cousin living with us. She was so lazy. All she would do is watch novelas all day while taking care of us. And then she would force us to do the chores around the house so it looked like she would do something. So one day we were like, nah, fam, we finna stand up to her. We've had enough. So the next time she told us to do the chores, we're like, nope, we don't want to do it. She's like, oh, really? She poured so much rice on the floor, made us kneel down on top of the rice, put books over our head for hours. Literally, my knees bled. She got dragged.
If you have an air fryer, you have to try these sweet and smoky drumsticks. They're so good and easy to make. You'll need honey, paprika, smoked paprika, Cajun seasoning, chili powder, garlic powder, black pepper, salt, and oil. Once you have a paste, add in your drumsticks and score the chicken. Rub the marinade all over and be sure you get it under the skin as well. Then air fry until the chicken is perfectly juicy, and that is all. Enjoy!
As a bad bitch, I'm woman enough to admit that I've been weak at some point. One of my biggest weaknesses ties into the first time I ever did heroin. So when I used to live in New Orleans, I worked at this restaurant and there was this dude there that I really liked. He was one of those big corn-fed motherfuckers from the Midwest. Well, I found out through the grapevine that he had a thing for heroin. And he was kind of a dick, so he never really like hung out with us. He was just like, you know, whatever, really aloof, very nonchalant with the way that he was. And so I was like, how the fuck am I gonna get this dude to hang out with me? Besides all of that, he was super intelligent, really nice, super funny, very charismatic. And I came up with a brilliant idea that I was going to get heroin and be like, hey, what's up? You want to hang out? So one day I'm walking home from a bar, it's raining, and some dude comes up to me and he's like, hey, can I get under that umbrella with you? And I said, yeah, if you can find me some heroin. He's like, let's go right down the street. Long story short, me and that dude ended up hanging out naked a few times. On the flip side, a year and a half later, I had lost everything that I loved. Hey kids, doing heroin is a bad idea.
Okay, this is a little bit. Oh Jesus Christ! I got it on the microwave. It's fine. It's fine. This is how you make scrambled eggs. I can see the yolk now. That's. The vegan gods are not happy with me, but you know, it's for science. Just keep scrambling. This actually might work out well. It's melting. It's going well. Oh fuck. Oh, I'm gonna throw up. Okay. It's kind of working. Would you eat this? Let me know in the comments. Thanks.
I've always known my grandma Guadalupe was a badass, but it wasn't until 2016 that I really understood everything that she went through. Being 90, my grandma remembers when restaurants had signs on them that said no black people, no dogs, and no Mexicans. So her and her family experienced racism firsthand, especially because her father was an immigrant. And even though she got married at a young age and the marriage was abusive, she stayed for the sake of her daughters until they graduated high school. After the divorce was final, she moved to Austin and started working for the government, but like in a cool way. She started noticing that the Hispanic community voters weren't really voting. So she and another lady would go to the Spanish-speaking communities and encourage and educate Hispanic voters and also take them to voting booths. She got known around town as being the little old lady with the hammer because when elections were going on, she would walk around with signs and a hammer, just nail them into the ground. She was a little brown badass going to demonstrations and rallies, protesting for the people, and she even watches and loves my TikTok videos, so everyone say hi.
My brother put the eggs in the freezer last night and they cracked, so I decided to peel them. And anyway, this is what a frozen peeled egg looks like, in case you're wondering. And oh yeah, they're hard as shit. I'm doing a frozen egg cooking tutorial now. So take the butter, which was also in the freezer, so it's really hard. Throw that in a pan. Okay, take the butter away. Let that shit melt. Alright. Now you gotta take your egg and put it in the bowl, right? And then scramble it. Scramble the egg. Alright. Fuck. Alright, once the egg has been properly scrambled, I'm gonna take the egg and the pan is not laying. That's fine. Take the egg and put it in the pan and just let it cook. I'll let you know how it turns.
So like I was saying, we kept Brooklyn's phone next to us with the Ring app on her phone. And like when somebody walks by, it's like a beeping noise to let you know somebody's there. So we hear the beeping noise and we automatically just look down because her phone was on the floor and we were watching TV. And we see a couple of little boys running. So we're like, okay, that's him. They're pranking us. So we go outside and we continue to see them running. They're running down the street. And we yell, hey, come back here. And they look behind and keep on running. And we knew automatically it was one of the boys from the school because it looked like them. So me and my friends were just standing out there in the cold like, oh my gosh, what should we do? So the past few days come and it's Monday. And when we see the boys, we're like, oh, you pranked us, stuff like that. And they apologized, they started laughing, and then we moved on. I hope you liked it. Okay, so back in like 3rd grade, I had a like little 4-friend group. It was 4 of us. And we were like really good friends. We were like BFFs. So on Friday after school, we decided to go over to my one friend's house, which is Brooklyn. And we spent the night. So her favorite kind of movies were scary movies. And the rest of us didn't really like scary movies, but we just decided to watch it. So like I went into the movie and we hear a knock on the door. And I kind of get scared. I don't know about the other girls, but I get scared. So her mom has a ring outside the door, like with the camera inside the doorbell. So we go look at that and no one's there. So in my head, I'm just like, oh my gosh, what if this thing comes to hunt us? So we go back to watching our movie. And like 30 minutes into the movie, we hear another knock on the door, but they knocked on the window too. So all of us got scared. And we were just thinking like they were pranking us, like her next door neighbors. So we decided to keep my one friend's phone with the Ring app near us so we can watch whoever's doing it.
One thing people don't know about me is that I'm the baby of 16 children. So being the baby, I always had nieces and nephews that were my age. My dad used to take us on these really crazy adventures in this big, huge blue school bus. One time he took us to San Antonio to go to SeaWorld and see Shamu, and I was really excited, but I didn't have enough money to buy everything that I wanted, so I just ended up stealing everything. I stole necklaces and thimbles and all kinds of shit. When I got home, I showed my mother everything, and she was like, where did you get the money to buy all this? And I said, Dad gave it to me. She was like, okay. So the next morning at school, and my dad picked me up, and the only thing he said to me was, we're not going to school, we're going back to SeaWorld, and you're returning the items that you stole. That old bastard drove 10 hours round trip just to teach me a lesson. I loved my father more than anything in the world, but the only thing it taught me was to steal better and never tell my mom anything because she is a fucking snitch. And then later in life, I participated in armed robbery. Who knew?